Our St. Louis Dragons are still looking for win number 1 on the season as we head on the road to face off against Minnesota. And then we've got our first division game at home against the Seattle Seahawks. Entering week 4, we have the record of 0-3, but it hasn't been entirely doom and gloom. There have been a lot of positives with the team, and we look a lot better than we did at the start of last year. So we've got 2 games today and another opportunity to finally win. And we're also going to have our first prospect profiles of the year going over the quarterbacks and running backs in this year's draft. So we are one of just 5 winless teams at the moment. The Titans and Bucks, of course, also have rookie quarterbacks along with Minnesota. The 4 first-round rookie QBs only have 1 win, whereas Seattle with Bryson Bowen, who was drafted in the 4th round, has 2 wins, which is more than the 4 first-rounders combined. We are an outlier compared to the other winless teams because our offense has been one of the better units in the league. We are first in yardage and we've scored a lot of points, but we're also allowing a lot of points. I think some of our numbers are a little bit inflated because we've already had 2 overtime games, but still, our offense is clearly quite good. The 2 losses in the last episode were both in overtime, and both games were just really similar, especially the endings. It's like the scriptwriters copied and pasted the 2 games. So we're through 3 weeks of the Puma Whitlock experience, and I think our rookie quarterback has played quite well. Yes, we're 0-3, but it hasn't necessarily been to his fault, and he's coming off the best game of his career last week against the Los Angeles Rams, where he made big-time throws, he didn't turn the ball over, and I think the rest of the team just needs to step up. Defensively, we have been almost as bad as we were last year. The offensive line's been mediocre, and our skill position players cannot stay healthy at all. So it's not at the fault of Puma Whitlock. Now, I will say our pass rush has been really good the last couple of weeks, and that's largely because of the rookie, Simeon Bonnet, who has a breakout challenge. This is really significant. Bonnet, of course, was our 2nd round pick, and he only has normal development, which is really the only thing about him that isn't good. He's big, he's athletic, he is super skilled, he's an 80 overall, he's only 21 years old, and through his first 3 weeks, the kid looks really good. He has back-to-back weeks with at least a sack and 2 tackles for loss, and it's pretty clear that his addition to the defensive line has elevated our pass rush, and since he only has normal development, the breakout challenge is going to be pretty easy. So as we look at the Vikings, they, like us, have a rookie quarterback in Deontay Harris, the only one of the 4 first-round rookie QBs to have won a game so far. Deontay Harris has played really well up to this point. He hasn't turned the ball over, and he looks like he belongs at the NFL level. The Vikings' run game is pretty mediocre. They've got A.J. Dillon and the rookie Drayshawn Sanders. They've obviously got some great weapons, specifically Justin Jefferson, who is still playing for a contract. He, of course, is the best receiver in football. Their offensive tackle duo is really good. The interior is kind of weak, though. And then defensively, they're not horrible, but I wouldn't say they're necessarily good either. It should be a fun one here in week 4 as 2 first-round rookie quarterbacks face off. Deontay Harris leads the Vikings against Puma Whitlock out of The Ohio State University, looking to lead the St. Louis Dragons to their first win of the season. The Dragons have come really close in all 3 of their games so far, and if a few plays were different in those 3 matchups, the Dragons very well could be 3-0 right now. They've been really unlucky, and hopefully today is the day they can finally grab a W. So St. Louis starts with the ball. Mixon with a spin move, fumbles it, and the Dragons are there to scoop it up. That could have been really bad. Instead, the fumble actually leads to a few additional yards. 3rd and inches now after the near turnover. It's a screen for Michael Thomas. He gets the first down, and of course, he is hurt. The skill position players have not been able to stay healthy at all. Michael Thomas is on IR with a torn bicep. Michael Thomas is now going to be out for the remainder of this game, so it'll be Griffin Weaver, Greg Dortch, and Jarvis Landry leading the receivers. Puma sent to the ground in a hurry by the unblocked Marcus Davenport for a loss of 8. That'll make it a 3rd and long here for the Dragons. Puma drops back to throw it. He has Dortch open, and he just completely misfires. Not a great first drive for Puma Whitlock as he goes 2 for 7 with just 21 yards, including a bad miss to finish it off. Cameron Dicker, the kicker, missed a field goal to lose the game in overtime last week. He splits the uprights here, and it's 3-0. Let's take a look at the Vikings offense, led by Deontay Harris, is on first down. He will be sacked. Jelani Salami brings him down. Jelani Tavai forces a loss of 12. Hawkinson looked open at the start of that play, but Damar Hamlin was able to close out the open space. 3rd and 14 now. Harris looks to throw it under more pressure, and it is nearly intercepted. Okudah had it in his hands, but he's unable to come down with what would have been an incredible turnover. So the Dragons get it back after forcing a stop as Joe Mixon gets it up the middle, and he does not get the first down. He is just shy. Harrison Phillips leads the way to bring him down, and the offense stays on the field here on 4th and inches at around midfield. The Dragons are regularly aggressive on 4th down, and it works as DeAndre Swift gets the first down. Swift has only started and finished one game this year as he's been banged up, getting hurt in weeks 2 and 3. 2nd and 4, Whitlock has Keon open, but it's incomplete. Keon was covered for most of the route, but he got some separation there at the end, and Puma Whitlock misses another throw. He has not been overly accurate so far today. 3rd and 4, Jarvis Landry open. He gets the first down, bringing it to the 4. This is Landry's second game after being signed. He was pretty quiet in his first one. Hopefully we see a big impact here. 2nd and goal, DeAndre Swift somersaults into the end zone with a touchdown. Very strong first quarter here for the Dragons, looking for their first win of the year. And this is not a bad start. They lead 10-0 going into the second. Minnesota's got to respond as Jefferson breaks away from 3 defenders and is shoestring tackled right at the end by Damar Hamlin. That could have been a touchdown if Jefferson was able to break away from that last defender. Minnesota's moving it nicely. They've got it at the 22. On 1st down, Harris connects with Jordan Addison for the touchdown, and the Minnesota Vikings are on the board. Addison speeding 140 miles an hour into the end zone, and so the Vikings are back in, and it's now 10-7. The Dragons look to respond here on 3rd and 9 as Puma Whitlock misfires again. He had Griffin Weaver open, and to make matters worse, Jarvis Landry suffered a game-ending injury on the previous play. That's 3 receivers who are now out for the game for the Dragons. So the Vikings have it back. 3rd and 8, it's Sterling Shepard with the first down. The first quarter was all about the Dragons, but so far in the second quarter, it's been all Minnesota. It's like a flip has been switched, and the tides have completely changed. 3rd and 9, Harris is sacked. Big defensive play by Jelani Tavai, his second sack of the first half, and the Vikings are going to have to punt it. Big stop by the Dragons as they get it back. Puma connects with Joe Mixon, breaks a tackle. Mixon pushed out of bounds, but not before getting the first down. Puma's starting to be a little bit more accurate, making more throws. He's really had to focus on the short game as he looks up the middle for Griffin Weaver III, the rookie out of TCU, with his first catch of the game to the 22-yard line. Handoff for Mixon here, jukes away from the defender, and he is gone! A 22-yard touchdown for Joe Mixon, and the Dragons extend their lead. Joe Mixon's a little bit older now for a starting running back at age 28, but he really has not lost a step, and he has been a phenomenal addition to this offense. So the Vikings get it back, down by 10, as Damone Clark is not fooled at all by the play action as he gets the sack. The Dragons linebackers with 3 sacks in this ball game. 3rd down and 18 now. Minnesota's going to wave the white flag and run the ball as Dillon gets 6. And the star tight end, TJ Hawkinson's hurt on the play, so the Minnesota Vikings are going to have to use a timeout here rather than the Dragons. St. Louis back with it. Mixon jukes away from the defender, breaks a tackle, and he is gone! A 52-yard touchdown for Joe Mixon! And the Dragons lead by 3 possessions here in the first half. Joe Mixon is unbelievable. 9 carries for 99 yards and 2 touchdowns, including one from 22 and one from 52. What a start to this game for Joe Mixon. The Vikings have to respond quick. On 2nd down, it's Justin Jefferson with the first down as he gets it to the 40-yard line. Minnesota does have a 2-for-1 here. They get the ball now, and then they start with the ball in the 3rd quarter, but they've got to take advantage. Here's Harris on 3rd down. His pass is caught for a first down. Again, it's Justin Jefferson. Minnesota looking to move as quickly as they can. They have a timeout and around 35 seconds from the 42. Harris looks to throw it. He is sacked again. And that'll wrap up the first half. It's been all St. Louis. They lead it 24-7. The Dragons look solid offensively. Joe Mixon's been running down their throat, but it's really the defense who's been the story of this game. Let's take a look at our halftime report as we start in Foxborough. The San Francisco 49ers are the clear favorites to win our division again, but it's New England with the lead in this game thanks to a touchdown here by the rookie out of Missouri, Chase Hunter, who's gotten off to a great start in his NFL career. In Buffalo, the Bills have the edge on the Miami Dolphins. Josh Allen and Buffalo trying to make sure Miami knows who's the class in the AFC East. Great play here after the catch by Dalton Kincaid for the score. As we go into the second half, I feel really good about where we're at, and we've got a really good opportunity to get our first win of the year. Puma Whitlock is really focused on the short passing game. Minnesota's pass rush and their coverage has been really good, so Puma knows he has to get the ball out quick, and he's mainly looking short. As for the defense, our run defense has been great. Our pass defense has been mostly good, except for when the Vikings try to stretch the field, as it's often worked. So Minnesota starts with the ball here in the third, as on 3rd and inches, Owen Popo nearly gets the sack, and his pressure is enough for Deontay Harris to throw an incompletion. On Minnesota's 2-for-1 set of drives, they scored 0. So the offense has it back as Dissely fumbles. Luckily, Isaiah Likely is able to recover, and that'll actually end up being a first down. 3rd and 10 now from the 48. The Dragons looking to potentially turn this game into a blowout, as it's going to be a screen here for Joe Mixon, and he will gain around 5 or 6. Not enough of a first down. The Dragons' strategy on offense is really just to play it safe. Don't try to be overly aggressive. You're up by 3 scores, and the run defense is playing out of their minds. A.J. Dillon does not get the first down on 3rd and 2. It's going to be a holding call against Minnesota on Christian Darrisaw. The Dragons are going to decline it, assuming Minnesota is going to punt on 4th and inches, which they ultimately would. So the Dragons get it back, still 24-7. Griffin Weather drops a wide-open pass. I get Puma Whitlock has not been overly impressive today, but his receivers have not done him any favors, whether it's drops or injuries. 3rd and 8, short throw caught by Dortch, who only gains around 4. This has been an ugly third quarter so far. I don't know if we've had like a single first down other than the Will Dissly fumble. It has been tough sledding. 3rd and 1 for Minnesota. Harris's pass is broken up by Jeff Okudah. He was trying to get it to Jefferson. Okudah's been phenomenal in coverage all day. He's really played well under the franchise tag. So the Dragons get it back. Their offense has done nothing here in the second half. 3rd and 2. Here's Puma Whitlock has a wide open man downfield. It's Griffin Weaver. And again, the throw is offline. Puma actually had an open receiver downfield, but he couldn't make the play. So the Vikings get it back. 2nd and 10. It's a play action fake. Harris on the run with a flag. Connects with Sterling Shepard. Finally, Minnesota gets a decent gain here in the second half for a first down, but it's all for naught. They're going to call another holding, this time on Alan Ali, the left guard. So Minnesota's going to end up losing 8 there, as if things can't get any worse for their offense. 2nd and 18, it's A.J. Dillon tackled behind the line of scrimmage by Simeon Bonnet. That'll be ruled a tackle for loss, and thus Bonnet has completed his breakout challenge. The Vikings were probably going to run for under 100 yards anyway, meaning that Bonnet would have completed the challenge pretty much regardless. But still, it's nice knowing that he definitely has it. Bonnet with the pressure on 3rd and 18. It's nearly a safety. Instead, it's a loss of 2. Jordan Whitehead with the tackle for loss on Josh Oliver. Is Oliver trying to taunt him? I don't get it. You're down by 17, buddy. So now we move into the fourth quarter. Same score. There's been no offense to speak of here in the second half, as on 3rd and 2. Puma's under pressure, and he will just throw it away. The offensive struggles continue for both teams, which isn't necessarily a bad thing for us, considering we're up by 17. The Vikings back with it. Their offense has got to do something, right? It's intercepted on the first play of the drive. Diggins, the rookie out of Oklahoma, with his first career interception. Diggins, the 5th-round pick, is getting some snaps in dime packages, and here he takes advantage of this opportunity, forcing the turnover. So the Dragons will get it back, 3rd and 8. Puma looks to throw it for the corner of the end zone. It's caught for a score. Tykeem Keon Jr., the rookie out of Clemson, with his 2nd touchdown in as many weeks. That's definitely Puma Whitlock's best throw of the day, as the rookie receiver catches the touchdown from the rookie quarterback, who got the ball off of a turnover from the rookie cornerback. These Onions are making plays out here. Vikings back with it. Harris is intercepted again. Diggins with his 2nd interception within the span of like 3 defensive plays. Way to take advantage of your opportunity, rookie. Diggins is earning himself more playing time as he continues to make plays. The Dragons back with it, 3rd and inches. Joe Mixon does not get the first down. He might have actually lost the yard. Jaquelin Roy brings him down. I know it's a 24-point game, but the Dragons are this close. They figure, why not? Punch it in and go for it, as Joe Mixon does get it. And unfortunately, Griffin Weaver's hurt on the play. He broke his ribs. He's going to probably miss multiple weeks. That's now our 4 best receivers who are all injured. Phenomenal. 3rd and 10. Swift has the ball popped out, incomplete. Harrison Smith with the deflection, and after all that, the Dragons are going to kick a field goal anyway. In hindsight, they should have kicked a field goal the first time because Griffin Weaver would have never gotten injured. So it's now 34-7 off of the kick by Cameron Dicker, and the Vikings have it back as their offense continues to just be an all-out disaster. Diggins nearly gets another interception, would have been his 3rd of the quarter. Really, it would have been his 3rd of the last, 3 minutes. I don't know why Harris keeps targeting him. 3rd and 10 now for the Vikings. Harris looks to throw it. He's under a little bit of pressure, backs up in the pocket, and he is eventually sacked. Simeon Bonnet leads the way. He gets half a sack, and it looked like Joseph Osai and Javon Kinlaw were both there as well. So the Dragons have it back, looking to finish the game, but Mixon fumbles it again. That's very uncharacteristic of him as Minnesota gets it back. Joe Mixon now has fumbled it twice today as the ball security, normally not an issue for him, has been today. Sterling Shepard up the middle to the 23. Harris again targets Diggins, and this time it actually pays off. Here at the 2-minute warning, the Vikings looking to score for the first time since the early second quarter. And on 2nd and goal, Deontay Harris with all day to throw it. He will finally connect with an open man. It's TJ Hawkinson for the touchdown. The Dragons rushed 3, and, well, there wasn't really a whole lot those 3 could do. So now Minnesota's going to go for the onside kick. They're down by 20. It's pretty much over, and now it is official. Denzel Mims recovers the kick, and that will do it. The St. Louis Dragons win their first game of season number 2, and they do it in pretty dominant fashion, 34-14 against the Vikings. This is without a doubt the best defensive game I think I've ever seen from this team. Just A+, phenomenal. Offensively, it really wasn't great. We scored 34 points, but I feel like other than a big Joe Mixon runs, the offense really was not all that good. I will say in the second half, we were really just focused on making safe decisions with the football, avoiding turnovers, and because of that, we didn't really ask for Puma Whitlock to try to throw the ball downfield. So he did what was asked of him as a field general. He avoided mistakes, and the defense was obviously able to hang tough. Both rookie quarterbacks had some good moments and some bad moments. I think Deontay Harris is going to be a good player, and he had a solid game here. He did struggle in the fourth quarter with the 2 interceptions to Diggins. As for the Dragons, Puma Whitlock was basically tasked with being the game manager today, and I think he did a fairly solid job of that. The one complaint I have is that he only completed 56% of his passes. If you're going to be the game manager, mostly throwing within the first down line, you got to be completing at a higher rate than that. Joe Mixon was really good, but he did fumble it twice, and Mixon only has 4 fumbles in his entire career prior to this game. Justin Jefferson was really good, of course. Nobody really stood out in the receiving game because, well, nobody finished the game. Our top 4 receivers all got hurt. I thought our offensive line played quite well for the most part, and then defensively we were obviously really good. Jelani Tavai made a lot of plays. Simeon Bonnet continues to be great. And then Diggins, the rookie, had 2 interceptions. And shout out to the punters. They were both very busy today because neither offense was all that good. So a really strong win here. I said the team needed to step up rather than it being Puma Whitlock's fault, and the team absolutely stepped up. Defensively, we were really good. The run game was good. The offensive line was good. It was really just the receivers who were unimpressive. As for our breakout challenge, the rookie Simeon Bonnet does end up completing it. He had another phenomenal game. He's going to move up to star development and get 20,000 XP, which is nearly 4 skill points. That's a whole lot. That might be a bigger deal than the development trait increase. So Bonnet is going to go up from an 80 to an 83 overall, and he's probably going to get another skill point after next week as well. We're going to go for 1 into each of his archetypes. Really exciting stuff here with Simeon Bonnet, who's now an 83 overall with star development and some massive upgrades. He now has 3 consecutive weeks of at least a sack and multiple tackles for loss. Puma Whitlock also has a skill point. He obviously was drafted as a 77. He's now a 79, and we're pretty close to having his development trait revealed, as he's already played right around 400 snaps. 420! Blaze it. So it'll probably take 2 more games, and then we're going to know his dev trait. All around, really strong win, but we do have one piece of bad news. Griffin Weaver, the rookie receiver, is going to miss the next 4 games with broken ribs. It's really been hard finding the true #1 pass catcher because A, pretty much nobody here has started and finished every game, and then B, no one there is all that spectacular to begin with. Puma Whitlock has had trouble finding his go-to receiver because these guys can't stay on the field. So Griffin Weaver being hurt certainly sucks because I think Griffin Weaver's been our best receiver so far. So Jarvis Landry's going to have to step up. Greg Dortch, I'm confident in him. Michael Thomas is going to need to start playing well. Here's a look at your Week 4 scores around the rest of the NFL. Got some pretty interesting results here. The Seattle Seahawks are 3-1. They look strong with their rookie QB, Bryson Bowen. We'll get a good look at them here in Week 5. As here are your players of the week, headlined by Bijan Robinson, Mac Jones, DeMarcus Lawrence, and Eric Kendricks. So that'll bring us into Week 5, and before we get started, we will go through our prospect profile covering the quarterbacks and running backs in this year's draft class. And there are some pretty fun players we're going to go over today. I think there's a good chance that this QB class will be the best one of the series when it's all said and done. And I think the running backs here are really talented as well. I think it goes without saying we're not going to pick a quarterback early. We just drafted Puma Whitlock 2nd overall. He looks pretty good for the most part, but I still want to go over some of the quarterbacks in this class because a lot of these guys will eventually become the new faces of our league. I think this year's QB class has a lot more depth than last year's did, and I think this year's QB class has a lot more top-end talent than next year's will. We're probably looking at a pretty weak QB class next year, although I don't want to project too far ahead. So as we look at the top of this class, there's a clear top 2 with Callaghan October from Michigan and Dasani Madison from Alabama. We talked about both of these guys last year because they each could have declared, but they both decided to stay in school. As the start of this year has gone along, I think October has widened the gap, and I think it's become very clear that he is QB1 in this year's class. October is a 99th percentile athlete. He's 6'5", 245, although I think he's going to measure in closer to 6'6". He's got an unbelievable arm. He's really athletic and quick for his size. He can navigate through the pocket and make plays on the run, and he's got the size to break through sacks pretty easily. October reminds me a lot of Josh Allen and Cam Newton in a sense because both of those guys are very big. They're both very athletic, and they know how to use their athleticism. If I were to nitpick with October, he just hasn't won as much as some of these other top QB prospects have over the last few years, such as Puma Whitlock, Otto Askew, and Dasani Madison. But I think Callaghan October has more physical upside than all 3 of those guys that I just said, and if he does not go #1, I would be shocked. In most seasons, I think Dasani Madison would absolutely be in the conversation for the #1 pick, including last year, but Callaghan October is just so good that Madison is the clear 2nd guy in this year's class, and there's no shame in that. Madison's a great prospect in his own right. He's got a solid arm, he's got a beautiful deep ball, and he does a good job of making plays on the run. He's got pretty good size as well at 6'3", 206 pounds, and he's done pretty well in a very non-QB friendly system with the Alabama offensive scheme, and I think he's going to be well worth a top 5 pick. Right now, there are 2 other QBs who I think will go in the first round as of now. The first one being Amari August out of USC. August is a big kid, 6'5", 225 pounds, 3rd-year starter. He's a dynamic runner, and that's certainly the best asset of his game. He's been very inconsistent as a passer through his career, but it really looks like he's turned a corner this year, and he has significantly improved his accuracy and his poise in the pocket, and I think scouts are really going to fall in love with his passing improvements, and I think he's played himself into a surefire first rounder. Going into the season, I think August was QB4 in this class, and Juan Escala Salazar was QB3, but August has been a lot better, and so they have flip-flopped. Juan Escala Salazar is still a very good prospect in his own right, coming out of Middle Tennessee State, who's been one of the best teams in the country this year, largely because of Juan Escala Salazar. He's your prototypical drop-back pocket passer. He's got one of the best arms in this class. He's super accurate. He had a great season last year, and he hasn't looked all that great this year because he's been banged up with a tricep injury, but he seems to be fully healthy now, and I think he's going to get back into a groove and potentially cement himself as a first-round pick. The big difference between last year's class and this year's class is there's so much more depth here at quarterback, and we'll start with Kofi Adobo out of Ohio State, the Puma Whitlock replacement. This is Adobo's first year at Ohio State, transferring in from Central Michigan. He was a 2-year starter with the Chippewas. He's no Puma Whitlock, but he's done a fairly solid job at Ohio State. He's pretty accurate. I think he's got a pretty high floor, and even if he's never a great starter, I think he's going to be a good player in this league for quite a while. And then we've got Lang Buddha out of UCLA. I think he could also be a top 100 pick. Buddha's got probably the strongest arm in this class, if not second, behind Callaghan October. He's got a great deep ball as well, but he isn't the most dynamic out of the pocket, and his accuracy overall is pretty inconsistent. I think the day 3 group of guys here is pretty good. The one I really want to touch on is Zachariah Drake out of Cincinnati, because I think he's really, really talented. Going into last season, I think Drake was one of the biggest breakout candidates in the country, but he tore his ACL in Cincinnati's first game. He's come back this year as a senior, and he's looked really sharp. He leads the NCAA in passing yards so far. He's big, he's athletic, he's got a strong arm, and I think his stock really could continue to rise. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up going in the first 2 rounds. It's a really deep group of quarterbacks this year, and I could see the Dragons looking for a potential long-term backup down the board. As we look at the running backs now, I think this is a position the Dragons will definitely invest in this year's class. Joe Mixon and DeAndre Swift are both good, not just in the run game, but also in the passing game. But both of them are starting to get on the older side for running backs, Mixon especially, and neither of them are under contract for next season. It's been made clear that both of these guys are very important to this offense, but they're not going to be around forever. So we need good production out of the running back position, and it would make sense to look at some early. I think there's a 3-way race for RB1, and that starts with Gaffey Quentin out of Auburn. 4-year starter with the Tigers. He really checks off all the boxes. He's pretty big. He runs tough. He's dynamic. He offers value in the passing game, and I think he might be the safest bet of these top 3 guys in this class. Jazir Salam from Oregon State is somebody who has just recently burst onto the scene. While Quentin and Miko Alexander were 5-star high school recruits, Salam had to battle up the Oregon State depth chart, and once he became the full-time starter last year, he has not looked back. 6'1", 245 pounds. He's a big, tough, physical power runner, but he provides more than that. He gives you value in the passing game. He can run inside and outside the tackles, and I think because of his well-roundedness at his size, he's going to be a successful player at the next level. And then we get to Miko Alexander from Georgia, who I think has the highest ceiling of any running back in this class. Alexander was one of the top high school athletes in his class. He became a true freshman starter at Georgia, and it took a little while for him to really get going. But this season, he has really broken out. He's been arguably the best running back in the country this year. He's dynamic. He's an unbelievable athlete with great explosiveness, and I think he could be a star. I think there's some solid day 2 depth within this class as well. L.J. Allen from USC is a good player. He's been in a duo with Monty Bradley out of the USC backfield, but Bradley obviously got drafted this past season by the Bengals. Martez Olcott and Corvell Jade Meyer are pretty good players as well, so is Elijah Sutton. I really like Dexter Sanders, though, out of Alabama. I think he's someone who can really outperform his draft projection. He plays in a very run-friendly offense, but I think he's one of the more explosive backs in this class, and I think he's got good power at his size, 6 foot, 212 pounds. I think he's going to be the next strong Alabama running back. Marquell Taylor-Williams from Florida's had a strong season as well. And now we look towards some of the specialty backs. There's a lot of short kings in this draft, and that starts with Ariel Dominguez out of Ohio State. He is a really strong receiving back, and he is dynamic with the ball in his hands. I don't think he's ever going to be a full-time lead runner. He's 3rd on Ohio State in carries this year, but he's a pass-catching specialist who is a blur with the ball. Tornado Davis II out of Houston is the definition of heart over height. He's only 5'6", but he's a really tough runner at his size. He's around 200 pounds. He's physical despite being smaller, and he's another super gifted athlete who is also very dynamic. Steele Covey from Middle Tennessee State is another very small guy, 5'7". Short Kings represent. Now, Covey is projected to be drafted below the other 2 Short Kings because he's only 163 pounds. He's tiny. Along with my fellow Short Kings, I think there's some good power runners as well here within some of the day 3 running backs, so I think could be pretty good players at the next level as well. I think some names to watch out for here would include Giovanni Gavincheco out of Pitt, Maddox Klein out of Michigan. Tony Corleone from Cal not only has a cool mafia boss sounding name, but he's a really good player as well, who I think will definitely outperform his draft projection. I think it's a really fun group of running backs and a lot of guys who have very unique skill sets compared to the rest of the group. So let's now bring our focus here into our Week 5 matchup against the Seattle Seahawks, who only won 5 games last year, but they have been a lot better this year. They're already 3-1, and they've done it without Geno Smith, who broke his wrist in the preseason. Now, Geno Smith is expected to be back healthy next week, so this is going to be the final opportunity for Bryson Bowen to really get an opportunity to prove himself. Now, Bowen has won a lot of games so far. He's already 3-1, whereas the other rookie quarterbacks have 3 wins combined. But statistically, Bowen has not been all that impressive. He's thrown 6 interceptions and has only completed around 57% of his passes, but he's winning games. The Seahawks have some really good weapons, although they will be without Jackson Smith and Jigba today. JSN played very well both times these two teams played against each other last year. Seattle is a really good secondary, but their front 7 really is not great at all. They do have 2 standout rookies, though, with Ronzo Sanders and Lance Sturlovich Jr. So let's hop into this matchup. Week 5 within the division. The Dragons just won their first game of the year, and they're looking to add another W to the win column. When these two teams played against each other last year, both games ended up just being absolutely ridiculous. Now, Seahawks fans will tell you every game they play is ridiculous, which is true. Seattle Seahawks games are basically 3-hour sessions of just punching yourself in the face the whole time, but at the end, being happy because they probably won. Hopefully, they will not win this time, and the Dragons can get the better of them as they try to improve to 2-3. St. Louis starts with the football, 3rd and inches. Puma Whitlock hands it up the middle for Sean Tucker, and he does not get it. That's Ronzo Sanders, the 5th overall pick out of the University of Colorado, bringing him down. I get that it's 4th and inches, but a minute into the game, you cannot consider going for it there. The Dragons would punt it, and Seattle has it. Bryson Bowen connects with DK Metcalf to the 46-yard line. Bryson Bowen drafted in the 4th round out of Memphis in his likely final start as Geno Smith returns to the lineup next week, although Bowen has created a QB controversy with how well the team has performed with him under center. The rookie tight end, Houston Maverick, drafted out of the University of Oregon, brings it to the 37. 3rd and 3 now for the Hawks. We'll see if they can punch it in here, as Bowen will fake the handoff to Kenneth Walker. Looks to throw it, goes downfield, and it's hauled in by Tyler Lockett at the 11. I think everybody kind of thinks Tyler Lockett is underrated, but he still gets underrated. He's one of the best receivers in the game. 3rd and 11, Bonnet sends the pressure. Osai joins him as Bryson Bowen gains around 9. Good stop by DeMar Hamlin and Rock Ya-Sin. The Seahawks on 4th and 2 at the 3 are going to go for it, looking to punch it in, put themselves in the end zone. It's a risky decision, but it pays off. DK Metcalf with the touchdown, and the Seattle Seahawks are on the board first here in St. Louis. They lead it 7-0. So the Dragons get it back. I'm really curious to see how Puma Whitlock looks today after a weird game last week. So far, he's 3 for 3, connecting with Jarvis Landry for the first down. 3rd down now from the 34. Puma looks to throw it, has no time, and he is sacked. It's Ronzo Sanders again, bringing him down. Sanders hurt on the play, but it's not a serious injury. He'll be just fine. So the Seahawks get it back. Rough start for the Dragons offense. 3rd down, DK Metcalf hit hard, but not before getting the first down. Bryson Bowen, 10 of 12 with a touchdown so far. He's looked really good. Both rookie QBs have actually looked quite strong today. On 1st down, Bowen has an open man downfield. It's Noah Fant who brings it to the 30. Bryson Bowen is dotting up this defense. He's continuing to perform at a high level. 3rd and 10 now from the 15, possibly the final play of the first quarter. Bowen looks to throw it. It's broken up in the secondary by Darnell Savage. So the Dragons get the stop. Seattle's going to have to kick. It's the veteran Jason Myers from around 32, looking to put Seattle up by 2 scores, and it is good. Strong start to the game for the 3-1 Seahawks as they lead 10-0. Dragons back with it. 3rd and 11. Nice throw by Puma Whitlock to Greg Dortch for the first down. Puma's 6 of 7, and he's been aggressive downfield, making a great throw while getting hit there. 3rd and 6 now from the 24. Puma looks to throw it under more pressure and connects again. This time it's Denzel Mims with the first down. Even while under pressure, Puma Whitlock seems to be more confident today going downfield than he was last week. On first down, it's Isaiah Likely, who will likely put the Dragons on the board. Isaiah Likely continues to have a really strong start to his season. It's very clear that Puma Whitlock trusts him to get open and make plays. So it's now 10-7, and Seattle gets it back under 3 to go in the half. Bwan with no time to throw it. He is sacked by guess who? It's the rookie, Simeon Bonnet, for a loss of 8. Bonnet continues to look like an absolute superstar on this defense. Third down. Bwan's pass is incomplete. Jeff Okudah lays the boom on the receiver. That was a good throw. Ball was in his hands, but Okudah jars it out. The Dragons have it back with a little over a minute and all 3 timeouts. DeAndre Swift open up the middle. He will bring it past the 40. And the Dragons are getting pretty close to field goal range as Rowanzo Sanders is hurt again. 3rd and 1 now for the Dragons with 54 left on the clock. Puma looks to throw it. He's going to try to run it up the middle, and he cannot. Sacked on the play. And so Seattle gets the stop. They'll call time. 46-yard field goal attempt for Cameron Dicker, the kicker. And he splits it down the middle. We are tied at 10. On the ensuing kickoff now, Seattle with a 2-for-1. They get the ball now, and they get the ball to start the second half as it's Zion Rose, the rookie. And this ball is out, and it's recovered by the Dragons. Damone Clark with the force and recovery. As I looked at the replay, though, I honestly thought it was DeAndre Swift who jarred the ball out. 3rd and 5, pass is caught, but not for a first down. He was just shy of the yard to gain. And the Dragons are going to keep the offense out on the field on 4th and 1 from the 9, looking to go for it off of the turnover. Puma's going to hand it off here for Sean Tucker. Tries to cut outside, and he is stopped. Devin Bush brings him down, and the Seattle Seahawks will hold the Dragons off the board. A busy ending to the first half as we are tied at 10. Seattle with 10 in the first quarter. The Dragons get 10 back in the second quarter. It's been a really fun game so far, and I'm curious to see which side can break away in the second half. As we take a look at our halftime report, we will start out in Santa Clara. The Niners are looking to get back to business after their loss last week against the Patriots, and they are doing just that. Christian McCaffrey doing Christian McCaffrey things here against the Jets. At 3-1, the Panthers and the Falcons are the clear 2 best teams in the NFC South, but I think one is the very clear favorite now. Here at halftime, the Panthers lead 30-0 on the road against Atlanta. This Panthers team looks really good. Bryce Young is off to a phenomenal start this year. And Carolina, very clear the best team in that division right now. And then in Houston, the new-look Tennessee Titans have the lead over the Texans 10-7. The Titans have been disappointing with their big free agency and their rookie quarterback, but they do have the lead over a solid Texans team. As we go into the third quarter, the offense has had their good moments and their bad. I think Puma Whitlock is playing really well, but I want to see him continue to make plays in the short passing game. And then defensively, Seattle hasn't really tried to run the ball. Bryson Bouwanya has been at his best going deep, so that's where we need to stop them. The Seahawks open up the third quarter with the ball as on first down, Bouwanya looks to throw it up the middle. It's hauled in by Tyler Lockett for the first down as he gets it to the 39-yard line. Good play there by the Seahawks, and they're quickly moving it down the field just a minute into the quarter. On first down, Bouwanya looks to throw it. It's Lockett again, gets by Okudah and Yasin. 39-yard touchdown for Tyler Lockett. And the Seattle Seahawks are back on top. It's now 17-10. Big start to the third here for the Hawks, and the Dragons are going to need to answer. Puma's pass is dropped by Tykeem Keon Jr. That was a tough pass to catch, but he had it in his hands. Puma only threw 3 incompletions in the first half, but he's 0 for 2 to start the third quarter. So the Seahawks have it back. Kenneth Walker loses 4. That's Trajan Blyjenden, the 5th-round rookie out of NC State. This rookie class has everybody making plays. Every week it's somebody new. 3rd and 8. Bouwanya is sacked. Joseph Osai brings him down, and the Dragons get the stop. St. Louis gets it back on offense with another opportunity to potentially tie the game. Whitlock is intercepted. Devin Bush picks it off, and Seattle's going to get great starting field position. Puma's first interception since week 2. He's done a better job of protecting the ball, but not on that play. Let's see if Seattle can punch it in. It's 3rd and goal from the 1. Bouwanya hands it off for Kenneth Walker, and he's going backwards. Another rookie, DeJuan Overton, the defensive tackle out of Auburn, with the tackle for loss. All these rookies continue to make such a big impact for this team. The Seahawks are going to kick, which I think is the right call. Make it a 2-score game. It's now 20-10. The Dragons have it back, looking to get some more points here in the third quarter. Puma on 2nd and 3 is sacked. He had an open receiver downfield, but is brought down as Terrence Steele, the right tackle, banged up on the play. 3rd and 9 now for the Dragons. Puma looks to throw it. It is incomplete. He tries to get it to Keon. Tight coverage by Devin Witherspoon. The Dragons offense again has struggled in the third quarter, and Seattle gets the ball back. They lead 20-10. On 3rd and 7, Bouin has a wide open man. It's DK Metcalf who is out of bounds at the 36. Big quarter for Seattle. They have really had a strong start to the second half, and we'll see if the Dragons can figure some things out here in the fourth quarter. 3rd and 4, Joseph Osai flies to the backfield. He gets half a sack along with Diggins, the rookie corner. So the Dragons are going to get the ball back. They're still only down by 10. Definitely still in the game. Nice catch by Greg Dortch. I almost thought he kind of bobbled it and it hit the ground, but they're going to call it a catch. No complaints here. 3rd and 1. DeAndre Swift loses 2. It's Devin Bush who brings him down again. Bush has had a very big game today. And the Dragons are going to kick here. Just make it a 1-score game. No reason to be ultra aggressive. The kick is good. And the Dragons are finally on the board here in the second half. So now Seattle just has to be smart, choose some clock, and try to finish it off. Bouin under pressure. That ball's out. It's a fumble. And it's picked up in the end zone for a scoop and score. This game is about to be tied up. Simeon Bonnet, all this kid does is make plays. Gritty on him, young man. Bonnet will get credited with half a sack, a forced fumble, a recovered fumble, and a defensive touchdown. I really feel like Jelani Tavai was the one who spearheaded this play, despite the fact that Bonnet gets credited with the fumble force. So the Seahawks with a costly turnover. They'll get it back, though, with another opportunity to make up for it. First play of this drive. Bouin fumbles it again, and it's recovered by the defense. Devin White picks it up, and that's the rookie Diggins with the force. What on earth is happening? A minute ago, we were down by 10, and now we're about to take the lead. I mean, I don't even know what to say about this. What an epic choke by Seattle. 1st and goal from the 6. It's Joe Mixon with the touchdown, and the Dragons will, in fact, take the lead. Those 2 costly fumbles by Bouin might cost the Seahawks the game, both of which were forced by rookies. Simeon Bonnet with the first one, Diggins with the second one. Bouin's got to make sure he holds on to the ball, and I mean, he did there. He still loses 10 off of the sack by Joseph Osai, along with the rookie, Trajan Blyshenden. 3rd and 19, final snap before the 2-minute warning. Bouin looks to throw it. He's under more pressure, and he's sacked again, this time by Javon Kinlaw. The pass rush is dominating here down the stretch. Seattle has to go for it here on 4th and 30 from the 5. Bonnet with pressure from the end zone as it is incomplete. 3 minutes ago, the Dragons were down by 10. Now they are up by 7, and they have the ball at the 2. Joe Mixon punches it in, his second touchdown of the game. That's a 24-0 run within not even 3.5 minutes. Has this ever happened in NFL history? There's no shot it has. 34-20 now. The Seahawks are in big trouble as DK Metcalf breaks a tackle. Metcalf, with nobody in front of them, is going to take it all the way for a 75-yard touchdown. The last 3 minutes of this game have been completely drunk. So how this game has gone, Seattle's going to recover the onside kick. It's just fate. And believe it or not, they don't. Denzel Mims is the one who hauls it in, and that will do it. The St. Louis Dragons win their second consecutive game, beating the Seattle Seahawks in a very unconventional way, 34-27. The Dragons have never won back-to-back games in team history, and coming into today's episode, we were 4-16 all time, and now we had 2 wins. Again, I feel like the offense wasn't that good. I know we scored 34 points, but it was not because of our offense. With 5 minutes to go, we had 10 points, and then we just happened to force 3 turnovers inside our own red zone to end the game. Seattle absolutely should have won it, but they just absolutely fell flat on their face. And it's kind of unfortunate for Bryson Bouin because he had such a good day throwing the ball. I was really impressed with this young man as a passer. The problem is he absolutely choked with 2 bad fumbles and taking like 4 sacks within the final few minutes of the game. He's the reason why they lost. As for the Dragons, Puma Whitlock was very efficient, 76% completion percentage. One of his better games, in my opinion. Not a lot of big throws, but he was steady. Both teams ran the ball well, other than the 2 fumbles. DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett both did their thing. Nobody stood out for us receiving-wise because, again, damn near all of our good receivers are hurt. And then defensively, I was very impressed again. Now, Devin Bush, look at this. He had 17 tackles, 7 for a loss, a sack, and a pick. I had no idea he played that well today. The Dragons' defense was also very strong. Joseph Osai with the best game of his career. Simeon Bonnet, this kid is a superstar. Kinlaw with a sack. Diggins with a sack and a forced fumble. And then the secondary did what they needed to as well. But those 3 fumbles are the reason why we won this game. Our rookies continue to make plays, especially on defense today. Bonnet and Diggins were phenomenal. Dwan Overton had a big play. Trajan Blyjenden with multiple tackles for loss. This rookie class, man, they are spectacular, and they're a big reason why this team is competitive here through the first 5 weeks of the year. As we take a look at our scores around the league, the Panthers end up beating Atlanta 44-0. Jeez. Players of the week, I find these kind of funny. So DeAndre Johnson, the rookie on the Ravens, wins it for the AFC. And it's ironic because during last year's draft process, the player I compared him to was Brian Branch, who wins it for the NFC. Brian Branch is one of my favorite players in the league. Obviously, as a Lions fan, I love him. He is awesome. How did it not go to Devin Bush, though? Or if not him, Simeon Bonnet. Love Brian Branch, but I don't really think he deserved it. Really fun episode nonetheless. 2 big wins, including whatever the hell this game was against Seattle. Next episode, we're going to play 2 more games, both of which are on the road. We've been on the road a lot this year. Starting off in the Meadowlands against the Jets, and then our first primetime game in team history against Deacon Adderley and the Buccaneers. I hope everybody enjoyed. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.